Hey, beautiful soul. You're listening to the Rising into Mindful Motherhood podcast, your weekly dose of fertility wisdom. I'm your host, Dr. Katie Wood. I'm a barefoot mama bear, pharmacist, and integrative fertility coach. This is your go-to podcast for all things to naturally nourish your fertility, embody womb healing, and reclaim your feminine power to accelerate your path to pregnancy. My expert guests and I will be having intentional conversations to discuss the many facets of a thriving, fertile foundation, natural wellness, and how we grow and transform as women on our journey to motherhood. So let's dive in, shall we? Hello and welcome to Rising into Mindful Motherhood. In this episode, I'll be talking with Ashley Holmes. She is the CEO and founder of Holistic Fertility Coaching, Inc. Ashley supports women struggling with infertility to conceive with ease by aligning and balancing mind, body, and spirit. And today we'll be diving into how Ayurveda can nourish the body optimally, as well as energetics such as yoga, Reiki, and chakra balancing, and how yin yoga is similar to acupuncture for opening up the meridian lines. So welcome, Ashley. I'm so excited to have you on the podcast, and I'd really love to just dive right in and learn how you came to working holistically in the fertility space.
Really, my path chose me, I feel, and it was just my desire to follow that path and to help other women who are struggling because I say I did it the hard way and the easy way, and I would forever more choose the easy way. And that is what I offer and what the traditional medical world does not. And yes, I did conceive over a decade ago using a fertility clinic, and I was blessed with twins, but
Hmm.
it was not a path I wanted to go down again and not something I wanted to put myself through emotionally and mentally. And that's really what I felt was lacking in the traditional medical intervention route. And what I found was that I could really be empowered in my journey. And when I landed on my yoga mat, I was able to conceive naturally and easily and quickly when I really realized how to bring mind, body, and spirit into balance and alignment and to really nourish myself optimally and to learn to tune in and listen to my body because it's always giving me messages, but I definitely was not deciphering those messages previously.
Beautiful. So you conceived twins. Was it via IVF?
It wasn't via IVF, but it was with fertility drugs. And I was heading down that route because they said this should have worked by now and we're going to move forward with the next protocol. And I was like, oh, but I've been doing everything down to an art, down to a science, exactly as I've been told. And I was just really, that was a low point for me of why isn't this working when I felt like I was doing everything that I was supposed to do?
Mm-hmm. Okay, amazing. And then how much time in between your twins did you conceive naturally?
So there's a big age difference. There's a big span of time. There's a big span of time where I did go back on birth control pills after my twins were little because I thought I can't have any more little ones. And then I thought, why am I taking these? I had unexplained infertility and I was never given any answers for it. So I was like, why am I putting these chemicals into my body when I didn't think I needed them anymore and I didn't think I could conceive on my own. And so I just stopped. And it wasn't until that I took a holistic approach and started to really nurture and nourish myself in a completely different way that I realized that there's a whole piece and part that I was missing and that I wasn't tapping into. And that was my energetics and learning that I'm more than my physical body. And there's so much more to me that I could really explore and really find the peace and vitality and all of the things that we're often seeking and that I didn't know was so easily and readily available to me.
I love that. And like you said, your path kind of found you and you were just right where you were meant to be. And it's so funny. I always like to look back at my past self with compassion and understanding, but it's You almost have to laugh at yourself. Oh, I had no idea about any of these things, and I was doing this and that. I would never do that now anymore. But I feel like the universe puts breadcrumbs in front of you and things fall in front of you right at the right time. And how beautiful that you were able to conceive another child naturally. And now it has really spiraled you into your passion and what you do. And now you're supporting other women doing the same on their journey. So it's just this beautiful ripple effect. So I love that. Thanks so much for sharing. So I would love to learn more. I'm definitely a novice when it comes to Ayurveda. I know a little bit, so I'm super excited to learn from you today. But could you explain what Ayurveda is and how it can benefit fertility specifically?
Ayurveda is really the mind and body working together and working in harmony and finding that balance and that alignment within. And it does so sort of effortlessly when you learn that we each have three doshas within us. So there's Pitta, Kapha, and Vata. And we are usually primarily one of those doshas, and those are comprised of elements. And we all have these five elements within us. But when you learn what is most predominant for you,
Mhm.
you can realize why you're often drawn to things and crave things that put you further out of balance. And then how you can choose once you're aware and conscious to not have those things as frequently, to know the effects that those are going to have on your system and the repercussions thereafter, and to just find that equanimity and that wholeness that we're all sort of seeking. So it's not a fad, it's not a trend. This is really a lifestyle approach that serves you not only on your fertility journey, but for your entire life. And I think that there is a lot of trends and fads out there that don't serve us, that aren't necessarily healthy for us, and that don't actually serve our health and well-being in the long term. And I think that is something that we should all want to prioritize and that we should all really value, because we want to be a vessel for this baby, and we also want to be and have our best health and wellness to raise them and to watch them grow. And to I have three kids, and I know that one is Vata, one is Pitta, and one is Kappa, and to know that it also just it's their inborn nature, and to work with their inborn nature and to honor their uniqueness and their inborn constitution, instead of trying to fit them into some mold and have them all be the same, because they're not.
Hmm. So it's funny. I'm glad that you brought that up. So the doshas is probably the one thing I'm familiar with for Ayurveda. So I'm sure many of the listeners have no idea what that is. Could you dive a little bit more into each dosha and what like the personality or body type? Like I know the kapha is more, what is it? Water and earth. Am
Yes,
I
earth
saying that
and
right?
water.
So yeah, if you
Yes.
could kind of explain each one, I think that that would be really fun to go into.
So yes, we'll start with Kappa. It's primarily earth and water elements. So these are the people that are often very grounded. But they can also be the people that common sort of things that show up for them, maybe chest infections and that heavier energy that can stick around, that can be harder to move, and they can have stagnant energy within them, housed sort of in the body. And so they require incorporating sometimes to come back into balance fire energy and some things to sort of get them going. Whereas I am a Pitta, so that's fire and water. And for the longest time, I just did hot yoga and would teach 3 classes a day. And that puts me further out of balance. And the moment I conceived naturally, I couldn't be in a hot yoga room. I was like, headache, and I didn't understand at first. And I was like, oh, that makes so much sense, because it was just too hot for me. And I don't need when it goes for spicy food. And those things put me further out of balance. And it's just having that knowledge and awareness of, yes, I can have those things, but they're not ideal for me. And Vata is composed primarily of air and space. So Vata people can often be overthinkers. They can be your type A's, and they're often the ones that are go, 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 do, 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 and they find it very, very hard to slow down. And they also may be the ones who are eating foods that are light and airy, which is why it's so important. Yes, a salad may be healthy, but for a Vata person, that is light and airy, and it's actually putting them further out of balance, and it's not ideally nourishing for them. And so that's why it's so important to know and work with your body, because things that we deem healthy, yes, that may be healthier than a cheeseburger, but it may not be. Cooked vegetables and things that are warming for the body can serve them a lot better than cold, raw food.
Absolutely. So for me personally, I feel like I resonate and I'm a mix of more like Vata and Kapha pretty much, but I do find it so fascinating to kind of see which one you align with and then the different things that can, like you said, take you out of balance. So for you being in that hot yoga space, that's really just kind of taking you out and in what for Pitta, it's more like cooling, astringent foods that can kind of bring you back into balance. So I just think that that's so cool and just ways to support your body that the typical medical model just don't even take into consideration at all.
No. And it's not a band-aid approach. It's not a quick fix. It's really something that you can implement and incorporate as much as you choose to, but you will notice the benefits, and the people that work with me notice the benefits of food starts to taste better sort of overnight. And it's like just having your senses awaken to what they've been missing and to really find that inner harmony and balance and what optimal nourishment really is for you, because what's best for me isn't necessarily what's best for you, but learning to listen to your body, to learn to listen to your digestive, and to have the digestive fire to take in what you're consuming so that you're getting the nutrition that you need, because you can be eating everything that's good for you, but if you don't have the digestive fire to break that down and to get the most out of it, then you're losing out.
Which is so important for fertility, right? We want to be absorbing those vitamins and minerals and nutrients because, like you said, you could be spending all this money, time, and energy on organic food, the healthiest food possible. But if it's not going to support your bio individual needs, then you could be doing that all for nothing, or you could be even kind of making things worse, so to say.
Yeah, you can be unconsciously creating further imbalances within your body without even realizing it, thinking that you're doing the best thing, because often we're looking outwardly and at all the fads and trends, and we're not actually in tune and in harmony with what it is that our body actually needs and what serves us best, and paying attention to those things day in and day out, and being conscious and aware and mindful of how we're eating and where we're eating. And that's as important as what it is you are actually consuming.
Mhm.
So, and in this day and age, when we are very busy and on the go and we don't slow down and we're stuffing our faces in the car or whatever the case may be, and on the fly in a minute, that's not serving us.
Yep, absolutely. So, kind of switching gears here, how does Reiki or chakra balancing, how does that come into play for fertility, and what effect does that have on the body?
It's amazing, and it's something that my clients love, because most of us aren't aware of our energetic body and how to tune into our energetic body and to realize that our energy system, our chakras can be out of balance. So we can have an excess or we can have a deficiency. And we want to sort of be able to know where we are on this spectrum and to be able to bring ourselves back into a balanced state. And that's so important for fertility, because our reproductive organs are housed in our sacral chakra, which is your second chakra. And it's important to know and have open, receptive, balanced energy to welcome new life into this space.
hmm Yeah, and it's my understanding too that if there is a block in one of the chakras, that it can affect the flow to the other.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so important, and it's why I feel I had unexplained fertility, because all the tests didn't show anything, because the tests don't show your energy. They show medical knowledge, which is great. You need that as well. But you also can have the support of your whole body. And in yoga, you have 5 layers of your being, and we work with all 5 layers of your being. And you begin to understand all 5 layers of your being. And it's just been an absolutely transformational way for me to live and for me to offer others that support. And not only to offer it, but for them to recognize it for themselves and to be empowered to know what is out of balance for them and to then be able to course correct it for themselves. Because that's truly where transformation occurs, is not just me giving to you, but for you to receive that and apply it to yourself. That's really the most powerful piece.
Yeah, I love that. Especially being able to have that awareness and know what to look for. So you can be like, oh, this is out of balance, this is out of alignment. And then, like you said, be able to course correct, ground yourself, kind of get yourself in a really nice space to be able to bring that balance back into the body. So I'm curious, have you ever read The Energetic Fertility Method by Nancy May?
No, I haven't.
Oh my gosh, you would love it. So I actually just went through it with my fertility clients. So each chapter is basically taking you through each chakra and how it can affect fertility, affirmations for each chakra, and different like exercises that you can do. And they loved it so much. They got through the whole book, and I feel like they had so many aha moments, and it's just a beautiful, really not that long of a read, but I feel like it gives such a beautiful explanation of our chakras and how you can balance them and how they could be out of balance and what that could look like. So, yeah, I would highly recommend that if you haven't read that book. So, for Reiki, you said that your clients love that. Do you see clients in person? Are you completely virtual?
I'm completely virtual, and that is the beauty of Reiki, is that we don't have to be in person. Reiki is life force energy, and so you just have to be open to receive wherever you are in the world, and we just make it work for wherever you are in the world. And we can be on a call and we don't have to be on a call, whatever is most comfortable for you. And I always just sort of give a report, so to say, as to sort of what came through. And sometimes it's like lightning bolts, and sometimes it's just I can feel like which chakras are blocked and where energy isn't moving. And then when I often tell them afterwards that this is what showed up for me, then it's always, oh, well, this happened this week. But it just allows things to be released, allows things to be flowed, allows things to be cleansed, purified, and just sort of that reset.
Yeah, that's really, really cool, especially since you can do it virtually. That just gives you such a wider reach with people that you're able to support and work with, especially if you don't even have to be on the call together, right? How convenient is that? That's amazing.
Yeah, it's whatever they prefer, whatever they're most comfortable with. And they often are just like, ah, it's just like this deep sigh of relief. That's what I needed, because it's so hard often to pick yourselves up during the worst time of the month. And when you're at your lowest, sometimes you just need that extra support and love and care and attention.
Mm-hmm. 100%. Yeah, so you had mentioned that yin yoga is similar to acupuncture for opening up the meridian lines. So I am familiar with yoga, and in my mind, when I think of yin yoga, I envision like a slower, more intentional form of yoga, but I'm not necessarily the most knowledgeable about that. So I would love to hear a little bit more about yin yoga and where people could maybe learn more about it and possibly find classes online. I am all about finding the classes online so you can do it in the comfort of your own home. So please tell us more about that.
Yes, it's really beautiful that you can do this from the comfort of your own home in your own safe, sacred space. And it is a practice that is slow and yielding, and it works with the issues in your tissues. And you learn to be able to embrace discomfort on your mat so that you can do so off of your mat when you're faced with challenges on your fertility journey. And it really is such a beautiful practice of opening the meridian lines in the same sort of way that acupuncture does, except there's no needles, and you are able to do this from the comfort of your home and to really practice the opposite energy and dynamic that we really truly need and to reset the nervous system from fight or flight mode into rest and digest mode so that you are in the space and place for conception to occur because it is stressful, but we need to be doing something with this stress. And so I offer yin yoga and I offer restorative yoga for that purpose of I would always leave the hot room and think, well, what would that do for me? Why do I need that? And how is that relevant to me when that is exactly what I needed? And that was exactly what my mind, body, and spirit was seeking. And I didn't realize it at the time. So they are beautiful practices. I offer yin yoga on the health and wellness platform Vibely, and you can try a class for free and just see, experience it. It's not your traditional fast-paced hot class where you're moving from pose minute to minute. It's very different and
Oh,
it serves a different purpose, and all yoga has a purpose, and it's just learning that there's so many forms of yoga and what is it that I need. And when you're trying to conceive, you often don't need to be doing more, you need to be being more.
yeah, and slowing down and just being present. So you mentioned that I think it was maybe learning how to be uncomfortable because you're holding the positions for a while, right?
Yes, you're holding the positions for at least 3 minutes. And when it comes to poses such as pigeon pose or dragon's pose, which are those poses that work the hips, where we can hold a lot of emotions and trauma, sometimes, not necessarily. Everybody is different, but it's just becoming aware of your body. Where do I hold tension? Noticing sensations in your body because as much as I thought that I was in my body beforehand, I truly wasn't. And I didn't actually feel like I took my first breath until I was pregnant and
Mm.
barefoot in a labyrinth and had to listen to my body and had to slow down to the point that I never had before. And it was like, wait a minute. I can't move at that pace and I need to listen to my breath. And as many times as yoga teachers had said, move with your breath and follow your breath. It wasn't until then that I actually was like, oh, I get it now. And it actually landed.
Yes, I love pigeon pose. It feels so good. But what like came to mind for me is it's also you're really building like your mental muscle when you're having to sit
Absolutely.
there in mostly probably silence for the most part and hold that position. Like you really have to build that like mental capacity to not be moving, not be constantly doing something, checking your phone, checking your email, and just being. And what came up to me like immediately in my mind when you started speaking to that is birth, right? Oh my gosh, how helpful yin yoga could be in really setting you up for a successful birth and being able to connect to your breath and doing all of those things. I know for me, I had a home birth and breathing was like the only thing that got me through was just really honing in and connecting to my breath. So as soon as you started talking about yoga, it's just like this is the preconception phase is a beautiful time to really build that conviction and that foundation to be able to do that for yourself. So I love that so much.
In any time of stress, to notice your breath, notice when your breath is shallow or choppy, and to stop and pause and to take that deep conscious breath instead of continuing on in that frame of mind, and your breath is your anchor between your mind and your body always. So it's just the best tool that we have access to day in and day out that most of us aren't consciously aware of or using in the manner that we could be.
Mm-hmm. Totally. And I know you had briefly touched on, because this was one of your freebies for the audience. So people, the listeners could try a free class on, I think it was either for yoga or meditation.
Yes, I offer yin yoga classes, hatha yoga classes, and yoga nidra meditations. And I'll just speak to that briefly because it is the most powerful meditation that I have found for the 5 layers of the being. So you're working all 5 layers of your being. 20 minutes of yoga nidra is equivalent to 4 hours of sleep. So it has that benefit as well, especially on the flip side when you're a new mom and you are sleep deprived, that you can just reset and use this. And your subconscious mind is going to take whatever it needs from the practice and apply it to your body. So that you cannot do it wrong. So it is the perfect meditation for anyone who says, I can't be consistent. I haven't been able to continue a practice I want to, and all of the things, all of the stories that come up. It is just such a beautiful meditation and something that I have found profoundly impactful. And the deep healing and rest received from it is unlike anything else.
I think I'm gonna have to check that out for myself. That sounds nice. So I will be putting the link for that down in the show notes. And please let the audience know where they can connect with you, where they can learn more from you. And yeah, if you have any final words to close out with as well.
Definitely. I welcome you into my Facebook community. It's Holistic Fertility Coach Facebook group. If you are currently trying to conceive and you are seeking support or somewhere to have meditation, sometimes I have people do laughter yoga. Sometimes I bring other experts in with other holistic modalities that I don't necessarily offer to help you on your path to motherhood, because it's so important to know that you're not alone. And my final words of wisdom and advice would be to do something for your mind, body, and spirit daily, because that in and of itself will have a positive ripple effect on not only your fertility journey, but on your whole life. And what that looks like is unique to you, but for your mind, it could be journaling, it may be meditation, but to become conscious and aware of the thoughts that are going through your mind day in and day out, and for your body to move your body in a way that you love daily, and to really honor your body and what it needs right now in this age and stage of life. And for your spirit to do something daily that lights you up and that allows you to feel like you and connected to yourself.
Beautiful. Thanks so much for being here, Ashley, and just sharing your wisdom and passion with us today.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Rising into Mindful Motherhood podcast. If this episode resonated with you or gave you an aha moment, stop what you're doing right now and write a review. This simple act of kindness helps me get this podcast out to connect with as many women as I possibly can. I also have a special offer. If you send me a screenshot of your review, I will take $250 off one of my premium coaching containers. Let me know what resonated with you the most and why. So connect with me in my free Facebook community or tag me on Instagram. You'll find both listed below. Thanks again from the bottom of my heart for tuning in to this episode, and I'll see you next time.